και ναι. Κάνει. Ιωάννου ρε, τι μας φέρνε μαγιά. Ναι κορίτσια που, ναι, μιλώ σου πολλά εξηγημένο. Αφού αυτή η τσάιτες λέει τα ούλα, δεν έχει οτιδήποτε. Είναι ωραία που... Ρε, να πάει να σπέμπει. Πού ήταν τώρα να πιάνουμε στο λιμάνι. Δεξιά πάει μόνο. Αριστερά πάει Μαρίνα τώρα. Εκεί άμα χρόνο μπροστά. Εκεί πήρχε να το ξέρεις τώρα. Τέλεια θα κάνω. Ναι. Ναι, τέλεια. Τώρα...
¿Cómo?
Θα σου πω. Πότε πέρασαμε. Ακόμα το αγγλικό. Μάλλον μόνο. Και πάει ο Τσάμι. Και βαρτούχα. Ναι, κατάλαβα.
¿Cómo? hoping you can see me. Sometimes it doesn't look the same on the screen up there as it does when I go to edit video. Actually, every training session was a solid training session this week, and let me tell you why. I've said this on pretty much every training video for the last week and a half, but I keep having problems with the microphone jack that goes into my camera, and it keeps cutting out sound every time I start talking about it. But I've had a lot of stomach issues for about 10-15 days. I know I've dropped a lot of weight really fast. It's been really difficult to get a pump and to stay pumped. My blood sugar's gone crazy because there's a lot more nutrition leaving me than I'm able to put in. And the last 5 days or so, I've had a lot of blisters all through the inside of my mouth and around my teeth. That's a normal thing with people with ulcerative colitis, as well as the people that take the chemotherapy medications that I take as well. So it depletes your body's B vitamin stores. It's one theory, that it depletes your body's B vitamin stores, and that causes a lot of the blisters and stuff that I get. They're really, really painful. So I load up with B vitamin injections twice a day for about 3 weeks. And they're 3 mLs each, and sometimes they burn going in and leave your sweat smelling like B vitamins, which is not so pretty. But I'm not pretty, and nobody's smelling me. They should all be wearing masks anyway, right? So I could tell that my nutrition's been down from food leaving me faster than I eat, and then I haven't eaten a lot. It's been pretty much impossible to eat steak or salty foods. Salt burns as I'm eating with all the blisters in my mouth. My teeth are really sore. My gums are really sore from the blisters. So chewing any kind of steak has been really, really difficult. And a couple of days ago, it hit me that I had a tuna steak, a yellowfin tuna steak in the freezer. So I took it out and thought, you know what, this might be a lot softer than the meat, chicken, anything else that I might eat. Some fish might be good. So I cooked this giant yellowfin tuna steak, and I looked it up online. There's guys that run a YouTube channel that I really like, Salty Tales, I think is what their YouTube channel is. I follow them on Instagram as well. Great guys, and they've got a video about how to cook it, so I followed them. Man, it was amazing. Everything just breaks away in your mouth. There's nothing that I really had to chew. And then I looked it up, and I had almost a 1 pound steak. I had 400 gram steak. So you look at 450 grams is roughly a pound. So I had almost a pound, 15 ounces, and it's like 96 grams of protein. And it was quick to eat, 96 grams of protein. The fat was like less than 5 grams of fat, like 3 grams of fat. And the downside of that is it was less than 500 calories. So it's not going to be a lot of calories, but I got some kind of meat in, I got some kind of protein in, and then I made my rice real creamy so I could just kind of scoop that down and get it. So that's kind of all that I've had is those, it's low calorie. And I can add butter and duck fat and stuff like that to it, but it's that saturated fat does seem to help me a little bit as far as strength goes. I know I need to balance that saturated fat from the steaks with some better quality fats from other sources, but I'm taking chances, doing what I need to do to win. So that's what I've done. And then last night I went to the place to get some more yellowfin tuna steaks, and I got there and they had some Wagyu, which is the really expensive Japanese beef, and they had several pieces. And I've had Wagyu before, and it's way out of my price range. Where I buy beef at Melisse, one sirloin steak, 14 ounces is 75 euros. So we're looking at 90 something dollars. It's not going to happen. And it normally sells for about, if you buy the whole thing, not in pieces, it's about 90 euros per kilo. So like $115 per kilogram. out of my price range. But this place mostly sells frozen meats. They had some that were prepackaged, cut, 200 grams, so that's roughly 8 ounces, somewhere around there. And it was 17 euros, something like that. So it's expensive, but I was looking at it, and the marbling is so well. And it wasn't the expensive grade, but my thought was I could have a steak, get red meat, get the protein from that, get some fat in with it, and most of the Wagyu is so soft that you don't really have to chew it. It just breaks apart and falls down your mouth like butter. And this stuff's amazing. If you're ever looking, and I had a question the other day from a guy that came in that was looking for a good protein source, and he's over 50, and his doctor told him to watch his saturated fats. You need to cut down on saturated fats, and the thing that killed him was that killed all of his beef. And if he could just have beef like 2 to 3 times per week, he said he would be happy. With the Wagyu steak, the cholesterol in it is less than chicken and fish. Okay? It's the same cuts, the same ribeye, the same whatever. They're even selling stuff at Walmart now, I do believe. The cholesterol is less than chicken and fish. The saturated fat is either at 0 or almost 0. So it has the exact same fat as a regular steak. But whereas like a prime cut steak of the same would have like 5 to 7% marbling, 5 to 7% of the fat would be, through the steak, marbling through the steak. I believe they're somewhere like between, say, 18 and 28%, depending on the grading, goes through the steak. And that fat marbling is what's going to give you amazing flavor and allow that steak just to fall apart in your mouth. Extremely high in monounsaturated, and is it polyunsaturated? Is that what you're not supposed to have? The monounsaturated fats, it's really high in some of the best, whatever the best quality fats you're going to get in from a steak. My mind is gone. I've got my notes over there. And very high in oleoic acid, I don't know, CLA, very high in that. So if you just want to have a piece of steak 2 to 3 times a week, not, 3 meals a day like me, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. There's really nothing in it that would trigger a cholesterol response. Here I am talking forever. So anyway, I had a couple of meals. I had a big salmon, potatoes, green beans, sweet potatoes for meal number 1. Rested a little bit, came back, and I made some fries for my little dude. Big giant steak fries, straight, cut from the potato, and really like that kind of fries. And I made a burger patty, a giant burger patty, and I made another yellowfin tuna steak, and I had half of everything, and then I went and trained. On the log, I could definitely tell that my nutrition hasn't been where it needs to be for the last week. Didn't have the energy, didn't have the stability throughout the press. I will say that it's definitely more difficult to press with my little guy sitting right here on the floor, right in front of the log. So I don't feel comfortable cleaning and pressing the log with him laying under me. And it's been one of those weeks and one of those days with him. You guys don't want to hear about that. But it's been a rough week and a rough day with him. So getting him to that point was I needed to sacrifice at that point. So I got the reps I needed, the 102.5 for 1 strict, and I sort of fumbled it a little bit. I have to watch the video to see if I don't think I really held it, but I know I got it locked out, elbows locked out. But I was off balance thinking about the little guy under me, and I put that down. Instead of dropping it, I sat it down, came back and did another one motion log, and then set that down. So that was fine. Went on to the floor press. Floor presses felt heavy this week. I went up by 10 kilograms. So instead of using 100 220 plus chains, I did use 110 242 plus chains. And, I got in my groove and things felt fine, but, I just didn't feel fired up and ready. And at that point, I had pretty much convinced myself that it was going to be a bad training session. So I finished and I just began sweating like crazy. Sat over in front of the fan. It was hot in here. And then began warming up for deadlifts. The deadlifts, I knew that I needed 188 in kilograms. So around 400 pounds. I put 190 on there, so just a little over 400. I don't really know. It's not important. Plus 55 pounds in chains. And all of my warm-ups felt bad. Hamstring felt bad. Hamstring felt dry. I felt out of place. Never got in my groove. I took 5 minutes and I sat over in the chair. And this is really important. I sat in the chair and I figured out between here and here what I was doing wrong. I knew that I wasn't getting in the right spot. I knew I wasn't wedging myself into the correct position. People talk about taking the slack out of a bar. I'm so used to pulling with just a regular power bar that I'm not used to pulling with a deadlift bar. Taking the slack out is very important.